Hey, what's happening guys, this is Orca from Orca's Gaming Corner and these are my top 5 tips on how to play Gears Tactics for absolute beginners. Before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of things, let me tell you guys a little bit about Gears Tactics. Gears Tactics is a turn-based tactical game, relatively small in length, that can be had on Xbox Game Pass as well as on Steam. And it is also set to come to the Xbox console later this year on Game Pass. It is a part of the famous Gears of War series but represented in a different way, so let's begin. My first tip: understand and use Overwatch ability properly. Overwatch ability is the foundation on which Gears Tactics is based. This is how it works on the map. You move a bit and use Overwatch so that you can cover a certain portion of the map that you think is significantly important. What that does is your units will form a cone of vision or line of sight, and if there is any enemy movement within that cone, they will automatically fire at the enemy, sometimes incapacitating them and sometimes even killing them. Now remember, the enemies will also use the ability in the same way against you. To improve your Overwatch implementation and make it more effective, here are a few things that you can do. Try to keep 2 APs on Overwatch for it to do more damage, and also make sure you have ample ammo. Know that the sniper rifle has the longest range for Overwatch, next is the ranged pistol, and then the lancer, and lastly the shotgun, and use them accordingly. If you keep the enemies just within range of Overwatch, you get the best probable results, because this way we are sure that the enemy has to trigger the Overwatch when they move, and also the Overwatch is not so spread out that the range of the weapon is actually affected. Lastly, try to create crossfires with multiple Overwatch cones at important junctions and strategic points. Okay, so we will also talk about how to get out of a situation where you are on Overwatch from the enemy's side. So there's a particular shot called disabling shot that works for certain weapons and special perks. You can use this disabling shot to get out of Overwatch. Usually this shot takes a lot of turns to replenish. You need to use it carefully. Now the other way is, of course, you can always attack an enemy using Overwatch with an ally unit who is free and mobile to disable the Overwatch. Now we come to our second tip. The second tip is how to use execution on enemies that are downed. Okay, first be clear that downed enemies can be executed, and doing so provides an AP to all teammates except the executioner. Now execution is a special move that gets highlighted on the bottom ability or skill bar when an enemy is down. Use this particular skill to perform the execution. Note that execution does not have any cooldown, so you can perform them multiple times in a turn as long as there are enemies which are downed. So execution is one of the good ways to gain AP for your team so that you can progress and do much more actions in that particular turn. So let's move on to the third tip. My third tip is about grenades and mines. Frag grenades are kings in Gears Tactics. You want to take out a mob, the best and easiest way, use a frag grenade. You want to bring down a boomer, again use a frag grenade, and so on. Now remember, all party members will carry some kind of grenade. However, do away with stem grenades and replace them with frag grenades. I do this because stem grenades give health to units in a small area, and nobody in their right mind should ever place all the party members in one place. So majority of the game you can heal a single member with stem grenades, so it is practically useless in comparison with frag grenades, which can decimate mobs and give high amount of damage to boomers and other units. Now scout is one of those units that uses proximity mines and frag grenades, so they are extremely important in a team. The only difference between mines and grenades is that mines require an initiation from the enemy side, so the placement of the proximity mine plays a vital role. Make use of scouts a lot, and also remember that grenades and mines can be planted as well as thrown at a target location. A good example of how to use mines: plant a mine on an E-hole before it actually opens and see what happens in the next turn. So let's move on to tip number 4. Tip number 4, I'll be talking about some of the special abilities that I use constantly. Stand Together. Stand Together is a paladin's main ability in which all allies within a radius of 10 meters get revived if they are downed, and also get a 50% damage reduction for that turn. This is ideal to use when multiple units are downed or pinned by enemy Overwatch and snipers, especially when you know that you will take some damage whatever your next move. Intimidate. Intimidate is a vanguard's core ability, and when used, the unit will shout out to enemies, pushing them back from cover and also eliminating any Overwatch cones they have implemented. This skill can be used sparingly, especially when you are surrounded by enemies with their Overwatch on you and there is no way of moving around. Intimidate also has a higher level that can also deal bonus damage to enemies within a radius. Group Therapy. Group Therapy is the main skill of the support healer class and can also be upgraded. It gives all the party members a bonus health of up to 100 to 150 hit points. So it's basically good to occasionally use this skill when most of your party members are down to 50% of their health. Sprint and Cloak. Sprint and Cloak are the abilities of Scout or Recon class that are extremely useful. Sprint allows you to move in a straight line for a distance that can be moved using 3 APs at the cost of 1, which makes moving on the map easy for picking up extra gear and loot. I believe that a Scout has the ability to get in the heat of battle, as he can always use Cloak mode to hide from Overwatch and even sniper sights. And lastly, Chain Shot. Chain Shot is a skill for snipers and they use it to get extra shot by sacrificing a bit of their health. I use this shot whenever I don't have an extra AP for a shot and it is crucial that the enemy is killed or downed. These are just some of the skills that I use frequently and made a note of. There are many more for you guys to explore. Remember, while using these skills, always keep in mind that some of them take a hell lot of turns to cool down, sometimes 6 to 7 turns of cooldown. Try to cycle your skills and abilities so that you are not left dry and you always have something to rely on. So we come to the final tip, the last and the most important tip, tip number 5 is positioning. Gears tactics just need some good positioning in my opinion. If you can create an opportunity, you can move through the game easily. So when I say create an opportunity, it means being able to create a chance to get more AP for the team and use your skills and abilities in the best way possible. The best way to improve your unit placement is to know exactly what is the line of sight for that unit at the new position. Always look at the battlefield from the line of sight of the party as well as the enemy. In doing so, you see things more clearly and can place units at positions where they are less vulnerable so that the rest of the gaps can be closed using abilities such as Overwatch. Usually when people move units, they just think from the perspective of what the unit can cover or achieve. Well, that is important. However, if you can look at how vulnerable a unit can be in that particular position, you will definitely weigh the pros and cons carefully before moving that unit to the new position, and this results in a much more successful way of progressing in the game. Also, lastly, keep in mind that the game allows any unit to move anytime as long as it's your party's turn and you have enough action points to play with. So make maximum use of this feature as you are not restricted to moving party members in a particular order. So we reached the end of the video, and if you are still here listening, please like, share and subscribe to my channel Orca's Gaming Corner and let me know what more you want to know about Gears tactics. For now, I'll end it here and have a nice night.